Hello, everyone, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review of Mercy, the new science fiction action thriller that stars Chris Pratt and Rebecca Ferguson. In this film, in 1929 Los Angeles, a detective stands on trial accused of murdering his wife. He has 90 minutes to prove his innocence to an advanced AI judge he once championed before it determines his fate. This film is coming to us from the director of Wanted and Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. But this go around, we get a science fiction trope from him. And this is a film that I wasn't over the moon excited about. I thought the concept was interesting when I saw the trailer. I'm like, okay, that's an interesting concept. Nothing that I would run out to the theater to see. To be 100% honest with you, I thought this was going straight to Amazon. I thought it was going on Prime Video because it looked like a Prime Video type film. But nah, they decided to release it in theaters in IMAX in 3D, nonetheless, which is where I got the privilege to watch it. I use privilege very loosely. I kind of got tricked into watching this movie. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I wasn't expecting to see it, but hey, it is what it is. Mercy stars Chris Pratt. He plays the detective here. He's on trial for murdering his wife, and the way it's set up, like I said, interesting concept. He's strapped to this chair, so you basically, the movie happens in real time. He has 90 minutes to prove his innocence in this trial. And the movie is basically 90 minutes, give or take a minute or two. But you're asked as a viewer to have to sit there and watch Chris Pratt sit there for 90 minutes because he does nothing. He sits in a chair. Rebecca Ferguson, she's just an image on screen. She's the AI. And so it's no action coming from those two. Everything else happens off screen. And, it's kind of like that screen life genre that kind of came to prominence a few years back, with Unfriended and Searching and, God forbid, War of the Worlds from last year. It's that kind of concept, but it got a bigger budget, so to speak. And that's not shocking coming from the filmmaker because the director of this film produced a lot of those screen life films. He produced Unfriended. He produced Searching, and I'm not 100% certain, but I think he produced War of the Worlds too. But I'm not going to hold that against him on this. But in any event, that's basically what this movie is. This movie is a streaming movie. I'm gonna just throw that out there. There's no reason to go see this in the theater, other than the fact you want to get away from the house for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, counting previews and whatnot. There's no other reason to, to go see this in the theater. I didn't get a theatrical feel from this movie at all. At no point. I've seen streaming movies. I've seen Netflix films. I've seen Peacock movies. I've seen Prime Video movies that you could have put on the big screen. Just think back a couple of years ago with Prey that came straight to Hulu. They could have put that right on the big screen, and vice versa. This they could have dumped on streaming, and I wouldn't have been mad at all. With that said, that doesn't mean this is a bad movie. I enjoyed the movie for what it was. It was interesting. I mean, the story was fine. I think it was paced well. You had a 90-minute trial, and he has to solve this quote unquote mystery in 90 minutes. And you go on this journey with him to solve this crime. You're basically on trial with him. You're the jury, so to speak. And everything that they laid out at first, they're like, oh, he did it. I mean, there's no other way. He did it. You know, the way this world is set up, the way his day went, and how his wife was murdered, it all makes sense. And so immediately you're like, okay, where's the big turn here? When is the big turn is going to happen? Because the clock is literally ticking on screen. And when it does make the turn and he's going through evidence, trying to find out, once strapped to a chair, and he goes into detective mode, it was fun, you know, for me, because I like those type of movies. I like a good mystery or whodunit type of film. When the twist, quote unquote, twist happens, you know it. You see it from a mile away. It wasn't disguised well at all. That's one thing that kind of bugged me. I at one point, once I figured it out, I was literally sitting there looking at my watch like, okay, when we gonna wrap this up? Because I figured it out. And I'm pretty sure everybody else figured it out. This is not rocket science here. But we had to go through the whole rigmarole nonetheless. Chris Pratt in this film was Chris Pratt. Nothing new here. He didn't reinvent the wheel. He's himself, you know, his normal self, without the comedic elements. He didn't have any comedic elements in it, you know, like we normally would get from Star-Lord or his character on Parks and Rec. But it was Chris Pratt, you know. It was nothing new here. He didn't add any depth to the character or any more depth that was on the pages, but he was fine. Rebecca Ferguson, wasted in this movie. They could have put me in that role. I mean, that was a nothing role. She's literally the AI. She's just, her face. If you look at the poster and you see her face on the poster, that's the same face you're going to see for 90 minutes. It's nothing different. You could have put anybody in that role. Man, it was good to look at her face. Don't get me wrong. Rebecca Ferguson is meow, you know, but I mean, come on. You could have put anybody in. She was wasted. She is such a good actress and she could do so much more. But it was pointless to have her here. She was fine in the role. I mean, it wasn't a hard role to pull off. She was a machine, a robot, or whatever, or AI. Okay, no emotion, but they still managed to give her emotion at the end, which was just out of left field. So out of left field. And that upset me. And that's not her. That's the writing. The writing was bad. They didn't set that up right. When she made the turn, when she displayed emotion, because she was constantly saying, oh, well, she's not programmed with emotion. She's programmed to conduct this trial, you know, the probabilities of this trial and whatnot. And then just out of the blue, randomly, it wasn't like Chris Pratt's character gave this heartfelt speech to change the heart of AI, and she decided to change. That wasn't it. That wasn't it. But it was just random, and it was dumb and so convenient, to whereas everything that happened at the end of this movie was predicated on the AI having emotion. Because if the AI would have stuck to their guns, Chris Pratt character, he would have been dead in the first 5 minutes. This wouldn't have been a movie. This would have been a short film, a YouTube short. And so it's just, I don't know, man. It fell apart. It fell apart in that aspect. The ending was the ending. They tried to give you this grandioso kind of chase at the end, you know, after everything was wrapped up and it made no sense. Just to have all of the characters, all of the main characters meet up in this one location that made no it was like, why go through this? This could have been stopped so long ago. And the way that our villain in this film gets to point A and point B in sections of the movie, and the way that this movie sets up this world, you can't move. The way you can't do anything. You can't use the bathroom without AI knowing how many times you wiped your behind, or if you flushed the toilet afterwards and washed your hands. I mean, everything was under surveillance. Everything. But they lost a guy. They lost a guy. It just made no sense. Anyways, as far as watching, enjoying, turning your brain off, it was fine. Now, as far as being logical and playing with people's intelligence, yeah, this movie, this movie here, man, it didn't need to happen, but it is what it is. Overall, I say it was good. It was good enough to watch. Will I ever go back and watch this movie again, even when it eventually ends up on Prime Video? Will I ever watch this movie again? No, I probably won't. Maybe in passing, but there's no way I can watch it in passing because you have to actually click on it. I would never click on this movie. And now, if somebody in my house is watching it, I might stop and watch it for a couple of minutes and keep it pushing after. But that's it. It's good for one watch. I've already forgotten half the movie. And I went to the theater, straight home, to my office to record this, and I can't remember half this movie. It was what it was. I wasn't mad when I left out of it. I wasn't disappointed because I had zero expectations for it. So in that regard, I feel I got a win on this. Mercy, starring Chris Pratt and Rebecca Ferguson, gets a letter grade of a C-. Yeah, it was a movie. That's the best way to describe it. But I would like to know, did you check out Mercy, or do you plan to check out Mercy, and what are your thoughts? Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of Mercy. And Lord have mercy at that. Want you all to know that I love you, continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.